The silent wait, the alien fleet floated in the cold darkness of space. They had gathered near the border of human territory, waiting for a signal. Reports had spoken of a small human shuttle traveling alone, weak and slow, to the alien commanders. This was not a threat. It was an opportunity. The flagship's bridge buzzed with voices, screens glowing with data. Alien officers spoke with confidence, laughing at how fragile humans were. They believed the shuttle would arrive, and they would capture it. For them, it was not a battle. It was a simple hunt. The commander, tall and armored, looked at the stars with sharp eyes. He had seen many wars, many enemies fall before their power. But humans were still new to the galactic stage, weak and small in number. He thought of them as children playing with fire, not true warriors. Do not underestimate them, one officer whispered nervously. The commander turned his head. His cold gaze silenced the young officer. Then he smirked and said, "It is only a shuttle." Nothing more. The bridge erupted with laughter. Their arrogance filling the room. For hours they waited in silence. Their sensors watching the void. The shuttle never appeared. Only the endless darkness stretched before them. Some grew impatient, muttering that the humans might have retreated. Others said perhaps the shuttle was delayed or broken. Then a faint signal appeared on the edge of their scanners. It was massive, far larger than what they expected at first. The officers dismissed it as a sensor glitch, but as the signal grew stronger, their smiles began to fade. "Report," the commander ordered sharply. The sensor officer's voice trembled. "It is not a shuttle, Commander. It is enormous." A shadow moved against the stars, slow, deliberate, unstoppable. The bridge fell into silence, the air thick with unease. Through the observation windows they saw it, emerging from the black void. A warship unlike any they had seen before. Its hull stretched longer than their largest dreadnoughts, dark and scarred from old battles. Glowing lines of human technology pulsed across its body like veins of fire. No signal came from the warship, no words, no greeting. It moved closer, silent and cold like a predator in the night. The alien officers shifted uncomfortably in their seats. Their earlier laughter gone, fear crept into their hearts, though none dared to admit it. The commander clenched his jaw, refusing to show weakness. "Perhaps it is damaged," he said, his voice hard. "Perhaps the humans are bluffing, sending their largest ship to scare us." But even he felt the weight of its presence. Pressing down on them, the alien fleet adjusted positions, ships spreading out in formation. Their weapons were armed, their shields raised still. The human warship did not react. It only drifted forward, as if it had already judged them unworthy of its attention. One brave officer whispered, "Why would humans send this ship for a simple border crossing?" Another answered with dread, "Because it is not simple, it is a warning." The commander barked for silence. Though his own claws tapped nervously against the console, something deep inside told him they had miscalculated. The warship's engines flared, a low hum vibrating through the void. Even without firing a shot, it radiated power. The alien fleet's scanners struggled to read its weapons, its systems, its energy levels. The data made no sense. Its strength was far beyond predictions. Minutes passed like hours, each second filled with tension. The aliens had expected an easy capture, a story of triumph. But now they faced something unknown, something terrifying. The silent wait was no longer filled with arrogance, but with fear. The commander stood tall, hiding his unease. "Hold formation," he ordered. "We will test this human machine and we will break it." His words echoed across the bridge, but no one truly believed them, for in their hearts, they felt the truth. This was not a shuttle. This was not prey. This was Earth's deadliest battleship, and it had come for them. The first glimpse, the alien fleet remained locked in formation, their weapons ready, but no one spoke with the same confidence as before. The sight of the massive warship had broken something inside them. This was not the fragile shuttle they had mocked. This was something else. The shadow of the human warship grew larger on every screen. Its hull seemed endless, stretching across the stars. Every scar and burn mark told a story of old battles. Yet the ship did not look weak. It looked stronger for surviving them. The alien commander's eyes narrowed as he studied it. "It is only one ship," he reminded himself. Clinging to logic, "We have numbers, we have firepower. We will overwhelm it." But his claws continued to tap the console nervously. Through the thick glass of the observation deck, officers watched in silence. The human ship's surface glowed faintly with strange energy lines, They pulsed like veins, alive with hidden power. It was as if the ship itself had a heartbeat. An officer broke the silence, his voice shaking. "Commander, we cannot read its weapons. They are shielded. Hidden." Another added, "Its energy levels are impossible, far beyond prediction." The commander's lips curled back in frustration, refusing to admit fear. "Open a channel," he ordered. His voice sharp and commanding. Moments later, alien signals reached out across the void. "Human vessel, identify yourself. You have entered restricted space." But the warship gave no reply. Only silence. The officers exchanged nervous glances, their skin pale with unease. "Perhaps they did not hear," one suggested weakly. "Perhaps their systems are damaged," another muttered. But deep inside, everyone knew. The humans were choosing not to answer. The commander's voice thundered again, "Send another message." This time, the words carried more force, more threat. "Surrender your ship, or face destruction by the fleet." Still, the void returned no voice, only silence. Then, the human warship shifted, slow and deliberate. Its giant cannons turned, not firing, but locking onto targets. The alien officers froze, their bodies tense, their throats dry. It felt like being hunted by a predator, waiting for the strike. One officer whispered what they all felt. "It is watching us," he said, voice trembling. "It is studying us like prey." No one argued, for the truth hung heavy in the air. The ship's massive engines glowed brighter. A low hum echoed across the scanners, shaking their nerves. It was as if the human warship breathed. Alive and waiting, the silence became heavier, more dangerous with every passing second. The commander clenched his fists, forcing strength into his tone. "Do not be fooled by fear. This is still one ship. We are many, we will break it apart." But even he could not shake the weight pressing against his chest. In the outer fleet, smaller alien ships drew closer. They circled the warship cautiously, their sensors scanning the closer they moved. The more unstable their readings became, data overflowed with errors, systems malfunctioned, unable to measure its core. Suddenly, one scout ship's engines failed. Its systems collapsed, its lights dimmed. Drifting powerless near the warship, panic spread across the channels as voices screamed for help. The warship had not fired a single shot, yet it had broken them. The crew on the flagship stared in horror. Was it a weapon, or was the warship's mere presence enough to crush them? No one could tell. No one understood. Fear spread like fire, burning away their confidence. At last, the commander slammed his fist against the console. His voice roared, trying to hold the fleet together. "Do not falter, do not run, hold your positions." But his voice shook at the edges. Betrayed by fear, the human warship did not answer, did not move faster. It only drifted closer, slow and heavy like a storm. The stars around it seemed smaller, dimmer, as if even the galaxy itself bent away from its presence. Every alien eye was fixed on it. Every heart pounded with dread, and in that moment, they all understood. This was not a chance meeting, not a mistake. This was a message carried in steel and fire. The first glimpse of humanity's deadliest weapon, and it had come for them. The deadly silence, the alien fleet floated in uneasy formation, their scanners filled with static, their minds filled with fear. The human warship stood silent, drifting through the void like a shadow, not firing, not speaking, only watching. The commander paced across the flagship bridge. His claws scraped against the metal floor with every step. His officers avoided his eyes, afraid of showing their own dread. They had expected a shuttle, but they had found a monster. "Send another message," the commander ordered sharply. His voice carried anger, but inside it carried fear. The signal went out, demanding surrender once again. The void gave back nothing but silence. The warship remained still, glowing with faint blue light. Its cannons tracked across the fleet slowly. One by one, it felt less like machines and more like eyes. Every alien officer felt as if the warship was staring at them. One junior officer whispered, barely able to speak, "Why do they not fire? Why do they wait?" No one answered him because no one knew. The silence was worse than any attack. The fleet commander slammed his hand on the console. "If they do not answer, then we make them answer." He raised his hand, giving the order to prepare weapons, lasers, plasma cannons, and torpedoes locked onto the human warship. Still it did not move, still it did not fire. The silence continued, heavier, more suffocating with each second. as if the humans were daring them to make the first move. The commander's throat was dry, but he forced the words out. "Fire a warning shot," he ordered. One alien cruiser obeyed, launching a beam of green light. It struck the human warship's shield and disappeared instantly. No damage, no sound, no reaction. The warship simply drifted on, silent and patient. The alien bridge crew shifted in their seats nervously. The commander forced a growl. Another shot. Stronger this time. A second beam, brighter and heavier, shot across space. Again it vanished against the human shields, not even a spark, not even a tremor. It was as if the warship absorbed the attack like water into sand. The alien fleet froze. Their screens showed nothing but unreadable data. Their hearts raced faster than their minds could think. And then, for the first time, the human warship moved, its cannons aligned. Glowing like burning suns, the hum of energy vibrated across the void. Every alien felt it through their bones. A force that seemed older and stronger than anything they had known. The silence broke, but not with words. With a single flash of fire, the human warship struck. One alien cruiser vanished in an instant, turned to dust and flame. The shockwave rippled through space, shaking nearby ships. The bridge filled with screams and gasps. The officers clung to their stations. Eyes wide with terror, the commander shouted orders. But his voice was drowned by panic. The humans had spoken at last, and their language was destruction. For a moment, the warship grew quiet again. It did not chase, it did not strike again. It returned to silence, its weapons glowing faintly. As if to say, "Do not test us further." The alien fleet's morale cracked like glass. Officers begged to retreat. Captains shouted over channels. "No shuttle could do this. No empire has built this," they cried. "This is not a ship. This is a nightmare." The commander roared for silence, his voice desperate. "Hold formation, hold steady. We are still many." But the fear in his voice betrayed him. He knew what his fleet knew. Numbers meant nothing here. The warship drifted forward again, its presence pressing harder. It was no longer a shadow in the distance. It was a blade at their throats, waiting to strike. Every second of silence was louder than thunder, and in that silence the galaxy itself seemed to pause. The aliens had wanted a shuttle, a trophy of human weakness. But what they found instead was Earth's deadliest warship, a weapon that carried not just firepower, but fear. The silence continued, deep and heavy. The aliens realized they were no longer hunters. They were prey, trapped in the void, watched by death. And the humans had not even begun. The storm begins. The alien fleet was restless. Every ship floated in the black sea of stars, waiting, trembling. The human warship loomed before them like a mountain of steel, silent, glowing faintly, ready to strike again. The commander's claws dug into the armrest of his chair. His anger boiled, but fear whispered at the edges of his thoughts. He knew the silence could not last. He knew the humans would not wait forever. "Attack," he finally roared, his voice cracking through the tension. The order echoed across the fleet. Dozens of ships locked targets, their weapons lighting up the void. Green and red beams crossed the darkness, a storm of fire unleashed. The human warship remained still, its shields flared, glowing brighter with every impact. The alien officers shouted reports, direct hits, shields holding. But the truth was clear, their weapons were doing nothing. The storm of fire continued, missiles streaked across space. Plasma bombs exploded against the shield. The alien fleet poured all their power into the attack. The stars themselves seemed to vanish behind the blaze. And then, through the wall of fire, the warship moved. It shifted with speed that defied its massive size. The storm of alien weapons broke apart as it advanced. Like a predator walking calmly through flames, impossible. One officer whispered, his hands shaking. "It should not move like that. It is too large." But there it was, cutting through their attack with ease. Every second it drew closer. Every second their fear grew. The warship's weapons lit up again. Railguns fired streaks of light that cut through the void. One alien destroyer exploded instantly, another tore in half. The fleet screamed as ships fell like leaves in a storm. Plasma cannons on the warship roared. Bolts of blue fire crashed into alien cruisers. Shields shattered, armor melted, hulls split apart. The void filled with burning wreckage. The alien commander shouted desperately, "Form a wall, surround it. Pin it down." But the warship moved faster than their formations could hold. It weaved between ships with terrifying precision. Missiles launched from hidden bays along its hull. They curved and twisted like hunting beasts. Alien ships tried to flee, but the missiles chased them relentlessly. Explosions lit the stars, painting the void with fire. Panic spread across the alien fleet. Voices cried across the comms. Shields failing, engines down. "We cannot hold," some begged for retreat. Others for mercy, but the warship gave none. It struck again and again, each shot deliberate. It was not random destruction, it was calculated. As if every move was planned before the battle even began. The alien commander stared at the chaos. His proud fleet, once confident and strong, was breaking. He had believed numbers could crush humans. Now he saw numbers meant nothing against this power. The storm of battle raged on. Alien ships burned, twisted, shattered. Yet the human warship remained untouched. Its shields glowed brighter. Its engines roared louder. For the aliens, every second felt like an eternity. The silence from the humans continued. Even in battle, they did not taunt, they did not boast. They spoke only in fire and destruction. The commander's voice shook as he gave orders. "Fall back, regroup. Pull the fleet together." But the retreat only made things worse. The warship hunted fleeing ships with merciless precision. One final wave of missiles tore through their lines. The alien fleet scattered in panic. Discipline gone. Ships collided in desperation. Others powered down shields to surrender. Yet still, the warship pressed forward. And then, as sudden as the storm began, it stopped. The human warship drifted in silence once more. The void was filled with wreckage, smoke, and silence. The survivors trembled, waiting for the next strike. The commander gripped the edge of his chair. His chest rose and fell with heavy breaths. His fleet was in ruins, yet the warship had not even unleashed its full power. He realized the truth with dread. The storm had only just begun. The fear spreads, the battlefield was silent now. Wreckage floated across the stars, broken ships burning slowly. The alien fleet, once proud and confident, had been torn apart. Only a few survivors remained, trembling in the shadow of the warship. Inside the flagship, the commander could barely breathe. His claws gripped the armrests until they cracked. He stared at the human warship in disbelief. How could one ship destroy so many so easily? "Transmit a message," he ordered, his voice weak but sharp. "Send it to all empires, all colonies, all councils." The officer hesitated, his hands shaking as he typed. "What do we say, Commander?" he asked softly. The commander's eyes burned with dread. "Tell them the truth," he said, his voice low. "Tell them humanity has a weapon like no other. Tell them the humans do not send shuttles. They send nightmares." The message raced across the stars, carried through comm relays. Intercepted by listening posts, it spread faster than light, reaching the ears of many empires. In every council chamber, in every palace, leaders listened in silence. Some laughed at first, they thought it was a lie, a story born from defeat. But then came the raw data, the recordings from broken ships, the images of the warship cutting through fleets, destroying without effort. Fear spread like fire. Advisors whispered that the humans had hidden their power, that they had been silent for years, waiting for this moment, that they had lured the galaxy into thinking them weak. On the borders of distant empires, soldiers shook at the news. They remembered the arrogance they once had toward humanity. Now they saw that arrogance had blinded them. The humans were not prey. They were predators disguised as prey. Back on the battlefield, alien survivors whispered among themselves. Some wanted to surrender, to bow to the humans. Others wanted to flee and never return. But none dared to fire another shot. The human warship drifted silently still. It had not spoken a word. It had not sent a signal. Its silence was louder than any threat. Because silence meant confidence, silence meant power. The commander looked at the broken faces of his officers. They were warriors trained to fight without fear. Yet now their eyes were wide, their hands trembling. He knew what they were thinking. What if the humans had more than one? The idea spread quickly. If one warship could destroy fleets, what could 10 do? What could 100 do? The galaxy's strongest empires suddenly felt small. Across distant star systems, panic began to grow. Merchants spoke of the human monster ship. Smugglers told stories of a weapon that could erase worlds. Children whispered about humans who carried storms in their hands. Leaders met in secret halls. Some demanded alliances against Earth. Others argued no alliance could save them. The whispers always ended the same. Humanity had become untouchable. On the battlefield, the commander sent one last message. Do not face the humans, do not provoke them. If they come, you run. If they speak, you listen. His voice cracked as he sent it, his pride broken. The human warship's engines flared once more. It turned away slowly, drifting back into the dark void. It left behind silence, fire, and fear, not victory songs, not conquest, only warning. The surviving aliens watched it vanish. Some cried in relief, others in terror. They knew they had seen the beginning of something greater. The galaxy had been warned. The humans had sent their message, not in words but in fire. And now that message was spreading. From empire to empire, from soldier to child. Everywhere across the stars, beings whispered one phrase. Do not test Earth, the last stand. The galaxy trembled with whispers. But on the battlefield, one ship refused to retreat. The alien flagship, largest of their fleet, stood firm. Its hull was massive, its cannons heavy, its shields layered thick. The commander of the flagship rose from his chair. His body ached from fear, but his pride burned hotter. He would not be remembered as the one who fled. He would face the humans, even if it meant death. All ships. Fall back, he ordered across the channels. Leave this to me, the remaining captains protested. Voices broken with fear, but the commander silenced them, his tone iron and unshaken. This is our last stand, he said. If I fall, then let the galaxy know I fought. His officers looked at him with dread, but they obeyed because defiance seemed weaker than courage. The alien flagship turned slowly toward the human warship. Engines flared, weapons armed, shields at full strength. The void between them grew heavy. Two titans facing each other in the silence of space. On the human ship there was no panic. The crew sat calm, eyes on their captain. No speeches, no shouts, only quiet readiness, as if they had done this 1,000 times before. The alien flagship fired first. Beams of red energy shot across the stars. They slammed into the warship's shields. Explosions rippling bright. The battlefield lit up like a sun, shaking with power, but the human warship held firm. Its shields shimmered but did not break. The alien crew gasped as their strongest barrage failed. Their commander growled. Again, stronger. Do not stop, cannon after cannon roared. Missiles flew, plasma storms erupted across the void. The human warship disappeared in the blaze. Swallowed by fire, the alien bridge cheered, believing for a moment they had won. Then the fire cleared. The human warship drifted forward, untouched. Its hull glowed brighter, its weapons alive with light. The cheering turned to silence, silence turned to dread. The human captain gave a single nod, and the warship answered with fury. Railguns fired, slicing across the alien flagship's shields. They cracked, bent, and shattered under the relentless barrage. Missiles poured out, hundreds at once. They curved and twisted through the void, hunting weak points. Explosions ripped along the flagship's sides. Armor peeled away, decks tore apart. Still, the alien commander stood tall. His voice roared through the chaos. Hold the line. Fight to the end. But his crew's courage faltered with every strike. The flagship's supercannon charged. A weapon feared across the galaxy. It fired a beam wider than a city. The void shook as it hit the human warship head-on. For a heartbeat, the universe seemed to stop. The beam lit the stars brighter than suns when the light faded. The human warship still stood. Its shields burned bright, unbroken, unstoppable. The alien commander's eyes widened. He whispered words only his crew could hear. We were never fighting equals. This is not war. This is judgment. Then the human warship revealed its final weapon. A lance of energy, white and blinding, extended from its core. It pierced through the void, faster than thought. The alien flagship's hull split open, torn in two. The bridge shook, alarms screamed, fires erupted. The commander clung to his chair as the deck collapsed. His crew screamed in terror, but his eyes stayed fixed on the warship. Calm in the storm, as the flagship broke apart, he spoke his last words. Tell them, never challenge Earth again. Then the flames consumed him, and the flagship became wreckage among the stars. The human warship lowered its weapons. It did not celebrate, it did not taunt. It simply drifted through the silence once more. Victorious, unstoppable, eternal, the battlefield was over. But the memory of the last stand would spread far across the galaxy. Leaders would whisper of the alien commander's courage, and of the human warship that erased him without mercy. The battlefield was quiet now. Wreckage drifted in endless silence, glowing faintly in the starlight. The alien flagship was gone, torn apart and burning slowly. The survivors scattered, their ships broken, their courage shattered. The human warship floated alone among the ruins. Its engines pulsed softly, its weapons cooling down. No sound, no signal, no emotion came from it. It simply drifted calm and cold, like a shadow of death on the alien survivor ships. Crews whispered in horror. They dared not fire, dared not move. Every eye remained fixed on the warship, as if even the smallest action might invite destruction. The commander of one damaged cruiser whispered to his crew, "Do not speak, do not fight, do not breathe too loud." They obeyed, for they knew the truth now. The humans had spared them only to send a message, and then at last the silence broke. The warship's comms activated. Its voice carried across the stars. It was not loud, not angry, only calm, a calmness that made every word heavier. "This is Earth," the voice said. "Your fleets came to test us, to measure our strength. You expected weakness. You expected surrender. But you found only death." The survivors listened. Their hearts heavy, the voice continued, steady as steel. "This warship is not alone. It is not the last of its kind. It is a symbol of what happens when Earth is threatened." The alien officers trembled as the words cut through them. Some broke into tears. Others bowed their heads. For they understood the humans had not shown their full power yet. They had shown only what was necessary to warn. The voice grew sharper now. "Tell your leaders, tell your empires, tell your children, do not test Earth again. Do not cross our borders, for if you do, this warship will not come alone." The message ended. The void returned to silence. The human warship's engines flared. It turned away slowly, vanishing back into the darkness. The survivors stared in disbelief. They expected the warship to finish them, to erase them, but instead, the humans had left them alive, alive only to carry fear, alive only to spread the warning already. Transmissions flew across the stars, survivors sending desperate messages to their homeworlds. Stories of the warship spread from system to system. The legend of Earth began to grow. On distant planets, alien councils gathered. Some argued humanity must be destroyed before they rose further. Others shook their heads, whispering that destruction was impossible. They had seen proof. One warship had erased an entire fleet. Smugglers told tales in the black markets. Traders carried stories along with their goods. Children whispered of the humans who sent storms instead of shuttles. Everywhere the fear spread. The humans themselves did not boast. They did not release records. They did not shout victory. They remained silent. Their warship gone into the void, but silence was more powerful than words. The galaxy had learned the truth. The humans were no longer the weak newcomers. They were the storm, the shadow, the fire. They were the predators who had hidden long enough. And across the stars, one phrase spread faster than light, whispered in markets, shouted in halls, carved into walls. "Do not test Earth," they said. "Do not wake the storm." The warship vanished into the darkness. But its shadow remained, not just in the ruins of ships, but in the hearts of billions. The message was clear, and it would never be forgotten.